This is my testimony.
Hey guys, you are welcome to Oketiwe, your weekly podcast on navigating the Christian life as a young person in the 21st century. We are Ropa, Kotluano, and Karen, and we are so glad you could join us.
Hey guys.
Ropa?
Yes.
Do you know?
What do I know?
Like today we should be celebrating, we should be popping champagne or something. This is our 10th episode.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Because 10 is like one of those numbers that you just have to be, totally get that. Yeah, 10th episode, guys.
You don't sound excited.
I am so tired. I didn't have a weekend. Okay, so context for everyone who's listening. It's Monday. And it's been a long Monday, but I didn't actually have a weekend.
Yeah.
I was at work and doing all sorts on Friday. Then I went to get my hair done. Then I worked all day on Saturday.
You had your hair done. That was a weekend for you. Doing your hair is like a chillaxing activity.
No, it's passing braids, Karen. Please. Passing hair extensions.
All right, so moving on from there.
Yes.
you did have a weekend.
Today we want to talk about beauty.
Yeah.
And like beauty, not beauty standards, but whether or not it's like important and why we obsess over it and what the Bible says about beauty and does God make ugly, all sorts of things like that.
Yeah. It actually has a term. I picked this up from Hillsong Conference, the beauty obsession. No, from Color Conference, Hillsong Conference. But I think I also came across it while reading the Screw Tape Letters. The term, the beauty obsession, right?
The Screw Tape Letters are a book
by C.S. Lewis.
Okay.
He's amazing. And I think so far, or currently, my favorite writer. But anyway, so it's this current chasing after the perfect image. As if there actually was a perfect image. It's this image that the media or whoever is actually in charge of giving you the image, creates or presents to you at a certain time with airbrushed images and airbrushed models and stuff.
Okay, actually,
and you set your mind on this, like constantly chasing after becoming this person. That is just impossible, or even when it's possible, it's like there still isn't contentment. Difficult to sustain,
and all sorts.
And age and stuff also catches up with you, and you just like a constant discontent with who you are and trying to attain a certain perfect image.
Okay, so before we get into this, we need to do a quick recap of last week's episode.
Oh man, yeah.
We talked about forgiveness. I forgive you. We talked about forgiveness and
yes.
There was a lot of like relaying of our emotions to some extent, but we basically talked about a story from Samuel?
No. First Kings.
From First Kings.
Yes.
Where, this guy called Shimei was pardoned by King David and pardoned by King Solomon, but he failed to forgive his servants. And that ultimately led to his demise. And we just talked about how forgiveness is actually helpful for you, the individual, whether or not people have asked you for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And what else did we talk about?
About knowing also that we can forgive because we have been forgiven,
Right.
Always remembering that we are not perfect ourselves, and that's just knowing that helps us to easily forgive others as well.
Right.
And
then we got a comment from one of our listeners called Yara, who happens to be my friend, and she just told us. She told us that. She gave us 2 tips, which are pretty cool, about forgiveness that we didn't mention. The first thing is that we should always be careful or check whether if you've actually forgiven someone or if you've merely forgotten what they did to you. So sometimes if someone is out of sight for a very long time, you can have the illusion of having forgiven them. But then when you are actually forced to confront them or face them again, you are bitter and everything.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point, very good measuring stick.
Wait, but to actually, you can actually deal with that, you know. It's very, sometimes even after you have like prayed for forgiveness, you actually encounter the person and you sometimes feel these feelings coming back up. But then one way to truly deal with it is to, for me, I mention the person's name. Sometimes it's so difficult, you know, but I mention the person's name in prayer and I'm like, God, it's so difficult for me to think about this person and what this person has done to me. But you have told me to do this. You have called me to do this. And I believe that it is the right thing to do as well. So even for me, I find it difficult letting it go, but I know that you can heal. And with that, it's not by my strength, but I pray that you do take care of it. That I can see this, I can meet this person again and not feel bitter or feel angry or... Yeah. I believe that God strengthens you. He gives you that grace, that help
to push through.
Exactly.
Another tip from Yara, or like measuring stick, like a thermometer to see if you're actually forgiving, is can you be happy for that person?
Yeah.
And she really checked me with that, because there's a lot of people I claim to have forgiven, and then, you know, on some level, when good things are happening for them, I'm like, but do you really deserve this? You know what I mean?
I feel like we are doing forgiveness 2.0.
No,
but
I'm sorry. But that's a very good point.
Are you like checking up on their lives like all the time and stuff like that? Then you really are wanting to know, is everything going well for them and stuff like that?
Checking up is also weird. Checking up is also like a bit...
Why not be happy for them, you know?
But yeah, being happy...
I'm not preoccupied with this person's life. You know, like I'm not checking to see is something going to happen to them because of what they did to me, or like is their life going well for themselves. I actually pray for their peace. You know, guys, like I sound like I'm perfect or I'm good. I am not
I'm like,
at
good
all.
For you, Karen. Good.
But seriously, for my mental health, for my peace, you
sanity.
Know, I pray sanity. I'm sorry, for my sanity, you know, and for my peace, I pray for them. You know, that they find joy, that they find peace, you know, that they actually even realize stuff that are not helpful for them and that they can move on from there.
Oh, wow.
You know, and then I don't like get hooked on their life. You talked about hemming relationships. That's how I hem mine. You know, hemming friendships. That's how I hem it. Or like something that's not working. I pray for you. I pray for your peace, just for you to just find the right peace, you know, not in smoking or in getting drunk at the bottom of a bottle. But then seriously.
when I grow up, I want to be more like Karen.
Oh, what?
I'm joking. I do though. I do that. I really want to develop that. Because for me right now, the most I can do is indifference. That's the best I can do for you. It's to be indifferent to whether or not you're doing
it's a beautiful suitcase. You just pack everything up in it and then you put it on the sea and let the sea just
do what it must do.
Yeah, it's gone.
But okay, God loves us, guys.
He does.
Let's get into this week's topic, which is
the beauty obsession. Yes.
Yeah. So Go for it.
I know, like when you hit me up and were like, yeah, let's talk about this topic. I was thinking about stuff that I would want to talk about, and I remember very clearly growing up, I had a very terrible skin condition. You know, I know at this point I can only say that it's God who healed me. You know, there were like so many things that were done, taken to see different specialists.
If there's all sort of in their profession, you want
I remember
to see
very
them.
clearly my mom like applying just the normal Vaseline on me and just praying that God would just do a wonderful thing, you know. So I don't leave her name out when I talk about my healing. But it was so bad, like sometimes I would actually be unaware of what was like on me, but then it's the first thing everyone sees about me. Everyone's eyes is just like drawn to this, and they'll, I had know someone who can help you, and I have this thing that can help you. So I was like, does anybody see anything else apart from this?
How young is young?
Until I was 27.
Okay.
From 3 months to 37. I was given a vaccine when I was a kid, and I was allergic to eggs, and so that vaccine is preserved with eggs. So then I had the first reaction, and then it stayed forever.
Okay.
So Yeah. Anyway, so I became so self-conscious, like trying to hide all these parts of me so that like people would see something else and not look out for this like terrible flaw or whatever they thought was so ugly or so nasty. Sometimes people would actually not want to sit close to me on a bus because they thought it was
contagious or something.
They thought it was something they can easily pick up. It was so bad. It made me super self-conscious and quite like thought like start to look down on me and like always just waiting to get rid of it so that I would be fine again. Like at least nobody would look. It wouldn't draw anyone's attention to me and make even people inspect my looks or anything,
Right.
Anyway, so that with time that healed, But even apart from this, Rupa, there were other issues. I remember like growing up where people would just their first insult when you did something bad would be, look at her ugly face, or look at her black face, and suddenly becoming like very self-conscious, like with all these tinies, or like why wouldn't you say look at her long legs,
yeah.
or something, so having all this along with the skin condition and everything, so thinking myself super like really ugly and not ever like always wondering would I ever like, does anybody ever see me as anything other than these things that I've been insulted with, or
How then do you, like, while you were still going through it, like, did you overcome it when the skin condition improved, or did you overcome it while it was?
I remember during this period of skin issue thingy, I was so conscious. As I said, I was so conscious of it and worried that I started like I would wear long sleeves, shirts and like really long skirts or trousers all the time,
right.
And it was actually worse. It was actually bad because it's so hot back home, and that was itself irritating.
Yeah.
And so I would itch more, I would scratch, and it would worsen. So at a point I was like, I can't bear this. I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
Like just because people can't take the sight of it doesn't mean that I should like hide and make myself uncomfortable.
Right.
So I said, everything else be damned, I'm going to feel comfortable. So then I would wear whatever I wanted to wear. And then, but I started to have an attitude. I started to have an attitude to it. Like, even if you came to say hi, my first thought would be like, this person is coming to tell me they have this special cream for me. They have this special.
Oh, wow,
so I'll be like, and I know about it already. Yes, like next, thank you. So I think it developed it brought up a complex, which itself was not very pretty. Messed with the insides as well as the outside. So there's
How then? I know this is not the context of our conversation at all, but the Spirit, the Holy Ghost directs this podcast. Do you then? Something that I would imagine would happen in such a situation is that other people with good skin either bother you or you like overly admire them.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel like you've drawn this right to where I was trying to get to.
Great. Okay.
So exactly. So with that, I would look at people with really like cool skin, as that target, that aim, like who I'm trying to get to. And so they would be like, yeah, they're already there, they are like the pretty ones, they are the cool ones, they are where I'm trying to get to, so I would either really attach myself to them, well, not just on the skin issue, but like, or that's why does she have, like, why do you have to have great skin, and why did I get blessed with the bad skin,
right?
These were all issues then that I dealt with, but yeah,
I feel like when I was growing up, Maybe I don't think I still have this issue. When I was growing up, I used to think I was shaped like a boy. Like I used to have like body image issues because I've got like naturally toned arms and legs. And I don't know, maybe it's, the social media life where everyone is curvaceous and everyone on MTV seems curvaceous or whatever. I don't know what it was, but I was obsessed, or I had this picture of what it meant to be feminine in my head. And I had this idea of what it was like, what a girl's supposed to look like. And I just didn't think I fit into that because, like I'm saying, I was shaped like a boy. Now I get a lot of people who are like, you have a great body. But like, I honestly used to think it wasn't feminine enough, And what that did was, I remember going through phases, like when I was like late high school, whatever, where I really wanted to gain weight because I thought it would like mask the whatever I perceived to be a boy-shaped body. Mm-hmm. And it also brought about some kind of complex, where people who seemed feminine to me, they became the standard or the prototype. And my overcoming that was kind of realizing that beauty is not binary, it's not either or. Yeah. It's not like you're that or you're not beautiful. It's like a spectrum, and that there's room for everyone to be beautiful. Mm-hmm. There's no, it's not like we can only have light-skinned girls and then the quota is filled, or we can only have slim girls and then we can't take any more. There's room for everyone. There's room for every skin type, every talking about body type.
Light-skinned girls brings to mind a period in time, like some years back, where like being a mixed race person was like the thing, or being lighter skinned exactly was like the thing, and then everybody else outside that bracket was like, you're ugly, or you are not pretty enough. And now with this black girl magic and everything, also sometimes that where people suddenly think, like I am black and I am pretty or I'm beautiful, and you are not, so you are not. Mm-hmm. You are not this color. You don't have this feature, so you are not pretty. It's like, what's that really all about? Is it all like negative? Is there any positivity to it? Is it necessary?
I get this is gonna be maybe a controversial opinion, but I get really like uncomfortable sometimes when I see like melanin magic posts, because I feel like they're doing. I get where it's coming from, and I get that the context or the messaging is even black is beautiful, especially after years, generations of, black skin being shamed and black skin being all sorts of things. I get it. But I also see it bordering and you're not good enough. Mm-hmm. Like, I know, like, not using the skin example, but when curves started to become embraced, to getting embraced, there was also an element of it tipped over to thin is not attractive anymore. Exactly. It's like we were trying to embrace one type of body, so we started to shame another one. And it's like very gray area, and it's very easy to. But anyway,
so like I can ask my question now: did God create ugly? And what is ugly? I think that's what help answer. Did God create ugly?
Ugly is a perception, first of all.
Created by who?
Us, human beings. Ugly is really a perception. And about whether God created ugly, I think what God created was variety. Mm-hmm. Like beauty in different forms. And what we've decided is that we sort of look at the whole spectrum, the rainbow, and then we just take one wavelength and we say blue is beautiful. We're gonna ignore yellow because yellow is not blue enough.
Season or in this century, right. I am the opinion on beauty, so I choose blue. Anyone who is blue is beautiful,
right? And we were just talking about this before we pressed record. Like, I know there's like a sense of we can blame social media or MTV or magazines for there being like an obsession with beauty and an obsession with beauty on women and stuff like that. But we actually read from the book of Esther, and Esther was chosen as queen, like primarily because she was beautiful. And just some context, in the first and second chapter of Esther, the king, Xerxes, he had to get rid of his first wife. Her name was Queen Vashti. And when he was searching for his second wife, he sent out like a commission or whatever that all the beautiful young virgins in the land needed to be sent to, I don't know what it was called, a citadel. I don't even know what that is, but that's where they needed to go and spend some months receiving beauty treatment. And only then would he pick, the most beautiful one. And when the Bible first describes Queen Esther, it describes her as being very beautiful and having a lovely figure. So the obsession with a woman's physical appearance has transcended generations. It's not about social media and all of that. Maybe what social media has done it's magnified it, and it's also made it transnational. It's an international, it's a global thing. Yeah. But it's been there all our through time, and I don't think God made ugly.
I think, there are some people that you naturally see and you're like, actually renewing my faith and my view of God recently has changed a whole lot of things for me. I can look at you, Ropa, and not just say, oh, you're beautiful. It's like, I know that it goes way beyond that. Maybe I like your toned arms, or I like your hair. There's always something beautiful about somebody, and we have so limited beauty to the outer presentation of somebody that I am given. There are people who are like, you just see them and you're like, oh, wow, you could be Miss World today, or you could be Mr. World today and all that. But I don't think that alone in itself is the definition of beauty in any way.
Right.
Or that... I don't think it counts at all in the definition of beauty. I think it goes very well into saying, you are pretty or you are handsome.
I think it goes, are we about to veer off into the fake deep part of our podcast? Where we tell you that it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside.
Seriously, I think it doesn't matter. I don't think we are being all like strange or fake deep, but it really does not.
Right.
I think you can be like super pretty and you can have the worst attitude. This is what I came to realize about beauty,
personality from
exactly
the pit,
or like. I remember this came to my head and I just had to laugh again. Who said it? Like, yeah, so you are pretty and you have the best features and all right, congratulations on your face.
Like now what?
Exactly, now what? What part did you have in creating that face? But what are you doing with it? What part did you have in creating your perfect S-shaped body, or in my country they'll call you
Karen.
What chin to say achomo. That really
say
funny.
that again.
No.
Okay. I'm just out here trying to learn chi, but Karen won't let me flourish. She won't let me prosper.
What? So you have that. So what? People. You can have surgery. You can go have your surgery and have that. But then what? What else?
So after all is said and done, yes, God didn't make ugly. There's beauty in all of us, like physical beauty. We can appreciate different varieties of people. But despite all of that, here's what the verse of today, or the two verses of today, say. 1 Peter 3, verses 3-4. Your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. I would just highlight for myself, like, it should be that of your inner self, which is pretty much what Karen is also saying, that, okay, after all is said and done, whether you're satisfied with how you look or not, whether society deems you as acceptable or not, at the end of the day, that's not what actually matters. What matters is what's on the inside. What matters is your personality. Are you a person who's full of love? Are you kind? Are you, as this one says, do you have a gentle and quiet spirit? And there's another verse which says, this is Proverbs 31, which the whole verse, or the whole chapter, describes what, like, sort of the model woman is. And it's heavily quoted in, like, women's groups and everything, because that's like what a wife is, you know, a Proverbs 31 kind of woman. And in verse 29 and 30, it says, many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. So it's gone on. At this point, 28 verses, the chapter has described what this woman is like. Then it says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. And I think it takes it a step further and says, you can actually be beautiful, have a fiery personality. But even that, you know, that's not it. That's not where it ends. To fear the Lord is like the ultimate, you know. So, and I think,
you know what comes with fearing the Lord? You get to know purpose. You get to discover purpose. And it gives context to your life. You know, because you could be still a pretty businesswoman,
right?
You know, making all the money for yourself, flying to all the high places and stuff, you know, but making everything in life all about you and about yourself. Right. That is not purpose. You may be in the best business field, like recognized by the whole world, and still not be purposeful with life, you know. But then that's what's that's what knowing the Lord, a woman who knows the Lord or a person who knows the Lord becomes, or it's all about, you know, you get to live a purposeful life. I think, that gives weight to you, you know.
One thing that I've realized is, in as much as it's valid that we get stressed out about our outward appearance, when I started chasing purpose in my life, I had a lot less time to worry about that. Like, somehow fearing God and worrying about the things of God and, you know, focusing on that, it sort of distracts or quiets down the noise. I don't know how to explain that correlation. I'm basically testifying of my own experience. That was one, like, actual tool or thing that helped me quiet the noise, you know, because now Instagram, oh my goodness, like, everyone is perfect. Everyone is doing something. Everyone is looking a certain way.
I was pursuing this perfection as well. You know, I was the 5K almost every morning runner, like, trying to get that perfect shape, look the best in my clothes, and not to say there's anything wrong with that. But then why did I want to do that? It boosted my image. Like, people would see me and say, oh wow, she has great hips, she has a great bum, you know. But I realized that you could still have all that and still be a very, very nasty, very, very ugly person, you know, deeply ugly. And that is actually worse than having what other people would regard as this, and it's actually even what other people think about how you look and stuff like that should not actually even be your concern. What part did you have in creating
how you look,
or how you came out of your mom's womb? You have no part in that. You were given something. I think all these are gifts, like other things that we discover along the way. The only thing with how you look is that you actually discover it, identify it right there at the time you come out, you know. And for that, and you can, of course, people have done a lot of plastic surgery and stuff, but truly it's something that you could not alter, you know. But now, of course, with plastic surgery, you can't do all that. But even then, you can change all that and still be a very, very, very ugly, deeply ugly person.
You can also be empty. That was also the other thing. You can actually get the body and get the complexion and get the lips and get all of that and be empty. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to look a certain way. Or
actually, I think it's important to take care of the body or the face that you have been given. It's all about placing value on yourself as well, because it's you place value on who made you, or you know that you know there's great value in your being made and being on this earth. So
Right.
you place value on you, which helps you to place value on others as well. So in taking care of you, you are doing that, just that.
Yeah,
So there's nothing wrong with that. But when you
obsess over it, I was
with
about
it,
to say
you know?
the exact same thing. It's when you start to obsess over it where there's a
if
problem.
you don't look a certain way, then you're not happy, or you're like, till I hit 70 kg on the scale, then like if
Like
I'm
life is not
71,
happening.
exactly. Yeah. So
I really want I wanted to read this, but it's too long. It's Ezekiel chapter 16, but it's basically describing. You should read it, dear listener. Just refer to it. It's basically describing, likening Jerusalem as to an adulterous wife. It says that's the title, and I would assume that the person speaking is God. Yeah. And he describes how Jerusalem was ragged, you know, but as a woman, it's like, I found you and you were kicking about in your blood, and I saw you and I said, live. I made you grow. You grew, and then you developed, and then you became a woman, you know, so your breasts formed and your hair grew and you were naked, and then I clothed you, you know, I gave you love, and then I covered your naked body. I gave you, all sorts. I bathed you and washed you and all sorts. I put ointments on you. I clothed you with an embroidered dress and put sandals of fine leather on you. I dressed you in fine linen, all sorts. It goes on. I adorned you with jewelry, etc. It describes everything from nothing to something. Started from the bottom. I put clothes on you, all of that. And then you became famous, you know, and your fame spread among the nations on account of your beauty, because the splendor I had given you made your beauty perfect. This is the Lord speaking. And then he switches up and says, but you trusted in your beauty and used your fame to become a prostitute. You lavished your favors on anyone who passed by, and your beauty became his. You took some of your garments to make, but in other words, you used what I gave you to get to the top. You also took the fine jewelry I gave you, made of gold and silver, and made yourself male idols.
Wow.
And engaged in prostitution with them. And you took clothes and whatnot. You did this with the oil. It really goes in deep. And now I'm on verse 19. I'm paraphrasing, and I really recommend that you read the whole chapter. And you took your sons and daughters, and your detestable practices. Okay. And it just keeps going, and God is basically rebuking the Jerusalem. Now, the context of this chapter is God is talking about Jerusalem. And he's likening it to a woman. But I actually like the metaphor that is being used, because I feel like we do that with the beauty. So even if you are someone who, in fact, we all are beautiful. We said this, but if you are a person who, you know, you look good, you have the great body, you love to get your hair done, God has blessed you, and, you know, you can afford to take care of your skin and your hair, and you've got the jewelry and all of this. The end has to justify the means. You need to understand that you didn't earn it. Like Karen is saying, you didn't do anything to have the face. And it was God who made you. He created you that way. And that humility should continue to speak through your actions. You know, God just made you that way. And the blessings that you're surrounded in, the good clothes, it's all from God. And we have to sort of be careful, or be, I don't want to use the word careful, to be honest, but cautious, or we don't want to be like Jerusalem, where we take the things that the Lord blessed us with and actually use them against his purpose. We actually start to go backwards with it, you know. You end up being the reason why other people hate themselves when you should be spreading love. Or you end up being like a bully, you know. You're the one inflicting self-image issues on other people because you're beautiful. We don't want to take it to that. We also don't want to take it literally to become promiscuous because we're beautiful. You know, we have to kind of embrace ourselves, learn to love ourselves, and love ourselves in the context of God made me fearfully and wonderfully. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Ropa, I was telling you about how I was so like self-conscious and thought I was like really not pretty like when I was younger. And all. It got to a
Right.
point where I stood in the mirror one time and I was like, wait, I have really nice lips. I said this to myself. I love my eyes. And I was like, wait, I have really nice hair.
Oh, guys,
And, like,
Karen has amazing hair.
Wait, when I said I had nice lips, Rupa said, mm-hmm. She didn't talk about my lips, so she doesn't agree. Anyway, I don't care about that. I do care. I'll pick it up with her later
This
after
is the
podcast.
kind of podcast where you just put on blast for no reason. Anyway, continue, Karen.
Anyway, so yeah, I started to pick out stuff about me that I was like, this is really nice. Like, people would die for my hips. People would die for this. People would die for that. And I was like, wait, I am actually quite pretty. I'm not like maybe this person's definition of pretty or that person's definition, but I really like these things on me.
You're right.
But with that, I there was a cockiness to it, like you don't start to say anything to me. You don't actually even come and say, oh, why is your skin so dark? I'm like, actually, I love it.
Yeah.
But then it was that in your face, I love it thin. And I was starting to grow.
It was getting ugly.
Exactly. I love my huge hips and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, guys, I'm not highlighting that, but just to say, I was starting to pick up all these things on myself. And I had to come to that point, like Rupa is saying, where I realized, wait, I can have all this. But then if I'm not doing with my life what God wants me to be doing with it, then I'm just like anybody. There are a billion people with big hips as well, but what am I doing with my life that sets me apart? Or it's not even about just setting me apart, but what makes me different? Am I just another girl with taking pictures of herself and posting it online, like, look at me, I have big hips, so like what, I had to get to a point where I realized no matter how beautiful I look, if there is no purpose to my life, or it's not connected to any purpose, there's no point to it. And everything that I have been given, even that, like, I am made in the image of God. This is in the Bible. He made everyone in his image, spiritually,
Right.
physically as well.
Right.
And to just like pick up on how I look and say, yeah, like I am all that, and not do whatever else is connected with my
Right.
life would just be a waste of space and a waste of life.
Just to say, I feel like we are like getting to the point where we should round up. But
Really?
yes, I know it's so much fun just chatting and hanging out. But just to segue back to before you are cocky, or if you're not cocky and you actually struggle with insecurity, or you feel like you're not good enough and all of that, I actually just wanted to highlight something, which is that don't let your body image issues lie to you that God can't use you, or that you can't pursue your dreams, So I just want to read 1 Samuel 16, verse 7. And it says, okay, so context, Samuel was sent to go and look for the next king of Israel. And he was sent to the house of Jesse. And the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider, like when he was saying in your choice, as you find the person who's going to be the next king of Israel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And God was basically giving Samuel context that, don't go and pick the finest looking brother. I look at what's on the inside. And I want you to, whoever is listening, just to be reminded in whatever context that no matter what society, like people immediately around you, even if it's your family or even your own perception of yourself, no matter what that says to you, you are still worthy of purpose. You are still good enough, and you have what it takes to carry out the things that God wants you to carry out. Even if it's to be on TV and like Karen, you think your skin is not good enough, you have what it takes.
My skin is great.
I mean, like you're at that version of Karen, 20 years ago or whenever. You have what it takes, and God looks at what's on the inside. What else?
I just, in the screw tape letters, there was this. So I talked about how C.S. Lewis had mentioned, or had talked about the beauty obsession,
Right.
and had talked about how all these things can be a form of distraction, by the devil, like distracting you from what truly you should be about. While you're focused on trying to look like somebody else or trying to look a certain way, you're not focused on who you are supposed to be or who you actually are, and using what you have, like Ropa has already talked about. But then there's this one line that he actually, or this sentence that he actually said that makes brings the point all around. It's he said this: it's all summed up in a prayer which a young female human is said to have uttered recently. Oh God, make me a normal 20th century girl. And thanks to our labors, this is a senior devil talking to a junior devil anyway. So he says, something that he was talking about is all summed up in a prayer which a young female human is said to have uttered recently. Oh God, make me a normal 20th century girl. And thanks to our labors, when he says our labors, that's the senior devil. Thanks to our labors, this will mean increasingly, make me a minx. Make me a moron and make me a parasite.
Oh, wow.
That is like, it's not what everybody is running after, but what's let's be cautious that are trying to be normal. It's not like trying to be like everyone else. But you are not actually made to just be like everybody else. You are made exactly the way you are for a reason. And it's high time you actually asked why was I, like, maybe just for curiosity, why was I made this way, and also just to look at you and know that there was no mistake in the way you were made, and you were planned and made exactly the way you are made. You were fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are perfect. You don't have to look like somebody to be special or to be awesome or to be
I used
pretty.
to think it was a character flaw that I'm so full of energy. Like I used to think I'm too loud and too forward, and I need to pipe down. And I kind of, now I'm like, no, Ropa,
Exactly.
you're great because
Exactly.
I'll give you one last example. We should round up, but there's this talk show host called. So guys, I have a gap tooth. I'm part of the gap tooth
really
gang.
That big. Oh yeah, she is.
Are you noticing it now?
Ooh, come on.
I have a gap tooth. And there's this talk show host called Anele. She's South African and she hosts like a talk show. And she's got a gap tooth. And I just found it so interesting that I cannot imagine her without it. Like, she is so beautiful and so authentic and so like, that's what, it's almost part of what makes her striking. And I just, an Anele without a gap tooth is like, it doesn't even, it has become something that, okay, people with gap teeth usually wish they had the perfect, not all of them, but that's usually the case, right? I find it amazing that something that is technically a flaw is actually what we associate, like what we make that association, like, that's Anele. She's the girl with the great smile. She's the girl with the gap. And it's amazing. Yeah. And she rocks it and she pulls it off. So with me, like I was saying, I used to think, I'm too much with my personality. Like, I'm just too energetic. But now I kind of realize that, no, that's what makes Ropa to some extent. Yeah. And just be you, Tifal.
Seriously.
Like, just be you.
We can just end with a quote from Job 38. When Job was going through all his crazy stuff, like the crazy period that he went through and all, there was a time when he was actually asking why is all this happening to me and all that, and then God asked him a question, and it's just, this is from 38:4. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you know so much. Who determines its dimensions and stretched out the surveying line? Who supports its foundation? Who lays its cornerstone? As the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy. You have no idea what went into making you, what steps, what source was placed where, and all that. All you knew is that you are here on earth and you are the way you look. There wasn't any mistake in your being made how you are. So while you have it, enjoy it. Don't try to look like anyone else. Everyone else is how they are for a reason. Just accept not just accept, but hope that you find joy in who you are and that you, enjoy being you,
Be beautiful, like beautiful, but with be you. Yeah. But all right, that's it for our main discussion, guys.
It is, yeah.
Just like stay tuned for our, what do we call it? Our this and that.
This and that.
Which is our gem of the week. And of course, something new.
It is a wonderful something. I'm just saying.
All right. So we get to bring you this and that at the end of every episode. That's our newly rebranded gem of the week.
We're so passionate about our brand.
Yes. It's so important. So our gem of the week and something new is now known as this and that. So again, this week I'm going to bring you this, which is the gem of the week. And I'm sure it's something that you might be familiar with. But anyway, so this weekend, on Friday, we had a wonderful conference again in my church. And this is it's called the Lift Conference. It's the Leadership Influence Future Today. It's amazing, to say the least, And I can't say enough about my church. I just love it, and I'm thankful to God every day for the opportunity to be in here and to learn and to grow so much. So I was at Lyft, and we had input sessions from so many amazing people, so many stories to just lift you and to take you further. And there was a particular thing, or there were several things that were said, several stories that motivated me so much. But there was one thing, I'm sure we've said it in different areas as well. But in talking about realizing one time along her journey how surrender is so important, and also coming to know that this was said by Chi, Sister Chi. And she said, God is not limited by our limitations, the things that kind of make us scared that we can't move forward with, or that we don't have enough of that, or enough of this, or enough of that. When we actually entrust it all to God, He is a source of He's a source of everything, and where we lack, He fills us and He gives us. He is never limited by our limitations. I just wanted to highlight that as our this session, and then Rupa can bring our that's in. Yeah.
So something new for this week. I want to introduce you guys to one of my favorite vloggers. Her name is Ashley Empowers.
Hey.
And she's a YouTuber, but also she has a website. So she blogs, and she recently released a book. And she is someone who is about her
love
purpose.
Her pictures. Is that her?
That's her.
Wow.
She's someone who's about her purpose, living for God, spiritual, uplifting. She's a speaker. She's an advocate. She's an entrepreneur. And I guess she's a content creator since she's on Facebook. on YouTube. So her name is Ashley, and her channel is called Ashley Empowers. And I've just followed her for quite some time, and through her journey when she was single and purposefully single, and to meeting her husband, and now she has a baby, and it's just been a journey. And I absolutely love her because she debunks, just her by being herself debunks the stereotype or I don't know what we think a Christian young woman chasing after purpose looks like, and she has videos about makeup tutorials sometimes, and her hair and fashion, and she talks about relationships, and she answers questions, and it's just someone who's young, fun spirit, and living a purposeful life. And I want to put you guys on, and particularly if you want to address topics about relationships. She's on that. She's made so many videos about it, and her own life is a testimony. So yeah, Ashley, and that's ASHLEY, Empowers on YouTube.
Awesome.
That's it for this week.
Yeah, guys. So thank you so much for sticking and listening. We know this was quite a stretch.
Yeah.
We are bringing you fresh episodes and amazing stuff next week as well.
Alrighty.
And yeah, we know you haven't heard from Katie in a while. She is around. She's not around. She's away for a while, but we will be hearing from her very soon as well. So yeah, just wanted to highlight that. So, and thank you guys. We have been hearing comments from you and all that. Just know, listen, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend.
And
this
please
could be helpful.
add some reviews on
It would be amazing.
whatever platform you listen to us on. And that's what's up. Till next time, guys.
Yeah, remember that we love you.
And God loves you.
And you definitely have been set apart for a purpose. Yeah. See you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
See you, Karen. Where are you going to see in the spirit? Karen is going to see you in the spirit.
I feel like we're gonna have like a meetup session sometime.
That's so cute.
I'm very prophetic.
There we go.
Anyway, guys,
okay, so
see
until
you then.
Karen sees you.
Bye.
Jehovah, you have broken every chain, and you gave me a new name. With the way you changed my story, I just really can't explain. So when they ask me how I made it, I'll just point and say it's you. Cause I'm standing here today, cause I've been delivered by the truth. Also in the name of Jesus. Oh yeah.